What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 114 of Nintendo Noise, Flip Screen Games Weekly Nintendo Podcast. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Miss Sierra Plus Ultra.
Hi.
Yo, welcome back to the show, Sierra.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been busy.
Yeah, you've been busy doing your Rockstar stuff.
Yeah, music guy stuff.
So I know you. Well, yeah, you can talk about it now. Why don't you tell the kids about the album real quick?
Yeah, so we're releasing the lead single off our upcoming album. The album will remain unnamed and cryptic and mysterious for a little while longer, but the single coming out on November 15th is called Darting Eyes. And yeah, we've self-produced and recorded, and we're really excited about it.
So 9 days, everybody. With Sales
Yes.
Ahead, that's the band. Go give them a follow.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have a
The
link
band
down
name.
below. No worries. That's what I'm here for. I'm the
Thank
host.
you.
So I have a link down below. Make sure you go pre-save it. Helps out a lot. And it'll
Yes.
definitely help out Sierra. So make sure you go and
Thank
click
you.
the link down below, pre-save the new single, and check it out because it's going to melt your face off.
Yes.
Okay, so we're here to talk something fun this week, Sierra.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I'm hyped.
soft week in Nintendo news right up until the 11th hour, and I got something great because the fine folks over at Sega posted over on their like corporate blog, basically, and it's like kind of like an internal thing that they use for like dissemination of information, right? And they have there's a quote here that's been translated by some folks over on Reddit, and it comes from Osamu Ohashi, who is the executive director over at Sega. And I mean, let's not bury the lead. Sega says that it still wants Sonic to surpass Mario. That in the year of our Lord 2023, that they need the blue blur to become the top dog, and they think that that's still doable. So this is the quote that we have from him. He says, "Simply put, I want to surpass Mario. Sonic is a game that was originally developed to compete with Mario, and it still hasn't achieved that goal. Our goal is to catch up and surpass Mario because we respect Mario. I want people to play it all over the world, including Japan, like Mario, and I want the movie to be a bigger hit than Mario. I would like Universal Studios Japan to create a Sonic area as well. That's our goal for those of us who love Sonic." And I mean, here's the thing, Sierra. I respect it. I respect the hustle. I get that you got to say shit like this, even when you're number two, but these are some very specific, lofty goals. And I just don't know if I see it. What do you think?
Sega just like, Mario, we are in your walls. We will surpass you.
It's like we've been
so
eating your dust
crazy.
for, what? How old's Sonic now? 30 years yet? He's got to be, right? Let me see.
I forget, like 80s, right?
Says, okay, here's the thing. I searched Sonic's age and it says 36. And I think that they're saying that he as a man is 36 years old. And I don't know about that. Yeah, okay, 1991. Yeah, so he's over 30.
I'm a year younger than Sonic?
Yes.
Wow.
And he's been eating Mario's dust that entire time. And they're like, yeah, you know what? 31 years in, I think we're gonna get it. I think we're gonna finally
Sonic is a
catch up
millennial.
and get past him. Yeah, Sonic's a millennial.
Sonic's a millennial. This is
That
crazy
makes sense.
news.
That makes
This
sense
so
to
much
me.
makes sense now.
He was one of those gifted and talented kids. He burnt out. He had a weird couple years. Now he's trying to mount a comeback.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't look good for him if you look at the math, Sierra, right? Because most recently, I broke it down in 3 categories. We got 2D, 3D, and movies, right? Because he said he wants to be number 1 in all these. So 2D Mario, right? Mario Wonder, our most recent, 92 on Metacritic. Just this past week, passed 800,000 sales, according to Famitsu. And it's also the fastest selling Mario game in Europe in its first 3 days. Now, for comparison, Sonic Superstars came out just within a few days of Super Mario Wonder, 73 on Metacritic. And according the same Famitsu sales numbers, right, the 800,000 that Mario got, that they sold just, let me see, where are we here? 4,128 physical copies.
Eesh.
So quite
Yeesh.
a few less than what Mario
Ouch.
was able to do.
Wow, that's devastating.
So a full nearly
Is that
20
even
points
point
less
1?
on
Is that even
Metacritic.
0.01%?
Who? I don't know. No, it's not, right? Because that would yeah, I
Sonic, I'm
think
not laughing at you, I'm laughing with
yeah,
you.
sure. We're with you. We're with you. So let's see if you're still with them after this one, Sierra. So for 3D Sonic or Mario, right? Our most recent entry, we got Mario Odyssey, 97 on Metacritic, right? As of December 2017, right, which was after 2 months on the market, it had achieved 9.07 million copies worldwide, which made it the best-selling Switch game at the time. The reason I've chosen that amount is because Sega had announced that Sonic Frontiers, the most recent 3D Sonic game, sold 3.5 million copies as of May of this year, which was after 7 months on the market. So quite a few less because as of now, Odyssey has gone on to sell. It's so somewhere I had it here and I guess I removed it. I think it's like 28 million. So
Yeah.
quite a few, right? Had a few more years on the market, but something tells me that Sonic Frontiers, despite being on 4 or 5 different platforms, not gonna catch up anytime soon.
No, and I mean, the problem is Sonic games just have not had a good track record. I think that's been a huge detriment to them
Yeah, I
and the
mean,
brand,
we get I
like
mean, and there's so many more of them come out, right? Like, I mean, in
yeah,
the time we get a 3D Mario, you're usually getting 2, maybe 3 3D Sonics, and,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I don't know I don't think there's ever been a 3D Sonic game that scored in the 90s on Metacritic, right? Like, correct me
no.
if I'm wrong, folks, but
Sonic. You know, it's
it's a
so
tough
funny because
legacy.
like yeah, I do love Sonic games, though. That's the thing, and if you think back to the '90s, like, both had, like, a TV show. Both were, like, almost household names. I feel like culturally, they were probably a little more even keel back then, but
Yeah, for sure.
gaming yeah, so, like, gaming's, like I feel like somewhere between, like, the '90s and, like, mid-aughts, like, gaming just was not cool for a hot minute, and, like, I feel like, obviously, in, like, the last decade, like, we've seen, like, a huge explosion for, like, Nintendo. Sega, Sonic, not so much, and, like, I just we just always see, like, Sonic games kinda just do okay. Like, the core fandom eats them up, but they don't
Yeah.
really grow outside of that
They don't like yeah, they
community.
don't connect with the mass market, in any meaningful way, right? Like,
Yeah, not the
you're
way
not having a
Mario does.
breakout Sonic game.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
guess except Mania, but, like, that's the exception, not the rule, right?
right. The unfortunate thing is, like, so Sonic does have its bangers, like, but obviously, like, culturally, what they have going for them is, like, Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2 is a just, like, a forever thing, a forever meme, just, like, I feel like that's universally agreed upon that, like, that's just, like, the best. But, like, beyond that, there's not many other, like, Sonic games that have made that big of a splash, whereas with Mario, like, there's been so many Mario games that have been, like, touchstones for, like, Nintendo and
Yeah, I
for
mean,
Mario as a character. I don't know.
I think Sonic Adventure 2 has gotta be the last game that I think had, like, a lasting cultural legacy
Yeah.
from Sonic, you know? I think you're right there because like, the music of that, the style of it, the Chow Garden, like, those are things that, like, people our age, have a lot of nostalgia for, and, I think that there's, like, a whole generation that's younger than us that has a connection to all the games that came after that, that were influenced by it, but none of them have the level of, like, footprint that I think the games that are Sonic Adventure 2 and before, right? Because obviously the Genesis games were a big deal at the time. And, like you said, like in the 90s, Sonic did have that moment where, he did feel like a competitor to Mario and like a viable alternative where, now we hear Sega say that and we laugh at them, right? It's like,
Yeah. I
okay, yeah,
know.
sure. And I think it's interesting though, because something I guess I hadn't really thought about until you said it. And when we get to the movie section, I guess it holds true too. I guess Sonic has largely had a better track record with adaptations than Mario has. Cause like
Yeah,
the Mario Brothers movie was like obviously the original one, right? Was like is a meme for how bad it was, right? It's like
yeah,
a cult classic because of what a weird B movie it is.
right.
And there was like the Super Mario Brothers cartoon and the Super Show and stuff, but I think like for people our age, we're like a little young for some of those things.
Yeah,
And like Sonic, had multiple successful cartoons throughout, you know, like our generation's childhood, right? From like
right.
the ones from the 90s and the movies and everything that spun out of those. And then like Sonic X and all the stuff that came later. Um yeah, there's like kind of always been some Sonic cartoon. There's like the Archie comics that like ran for like 20 years that were really popular. And, obviously the movies, right? Which we'll get to in a second here that, Sonic made it to the box office first, right? Before Mario. And yeah, it's like I think Sonic is so successful as a character, and it's like almost in spite of the fact that the vast majority of his games are not super well received, that like at
Yeah, which
best
is
they're kind of
unfortunate.
average.
Yeah, yes, yeah, absolutely. And, like, I want Sonic to succeed, but it's just, like, the reality of it. Like, he just can't hold a candle to Mario at this point.
The quality's just not there, like you said, right? Like it's like I think if Sonic came out with a game that was like that was a 9, right? That was a got
That was
90,
another Sonic adventure too.
and it's like I don't know how you do that though, really. Like I think there's so much baggage that Sonic has where it's like there is like this weird like edgelordy kind of quality to the modern Sonic stuff that is like the
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure, that like has that like early 2000s like stink on it almost. And like I don't know how you bring that
Yeah.
back and play it seriously in a way that people connect with.
Yeah, that must be them. I mean, like, I haven't done too much reading into this, but how it feels to me is like them kinda being like, "Well, we can't get all the kids. We can't win with all the families, so, like, maybe we'll just go for, like, the kids who, like, played Sonic growing up, like, who are, like, millennials, like, the edgy teenagers. Go for something a little more sleek, Sonic Frontiers." I guess that kinda closes them off to getting, like, the kiddos who play Odyssey, but
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Yeah, like I guess it's like I feel like the retro Sonic that like they just use in like Superstars, or like the classic Sonic where he's like a little more shibby, like that's like still very family friendly. But I do feel like the like Sonic Adventure era has this kind of like it's for like preteens and like young teenagers where it's like you're too young to play like more adult games, but like you want something that feels cooler and more mature
Yeah.
than, Mario or whatever. And it's like, I think that was kind of the niche that it lived in. And I don't know. Like, is there a
I
market for
know.
that anymore? I don't know. It's like, do people want to listen to these like Crush 40 like butt rock songs? Like we have
I was gonna
nostalgia for them,
say
but like
I will say Mario does not have City Escape. There is no City
there
Escape in
is no
Mario,
city escape. That's true.
and they will never be able to have their own City Escape. Can't take that away from Sonic,
It's
but
crazy how close I feel like we probably came to a weird butt rock Mario, because I just think of that image of him with the tribal tattoo from that SP ad, and it's like, man, what could have been? That could have been our Mario adventure too.
Mario with Scott. You know what they need to do? Like Nintendo and Sega need to do like a swap, a Parent Trap or like, Freaky Friday. I think maybe Freaky Friday is what I'm thinking of.
That I feel
Just
like
swap
would
them.
be an enormous win for Sega, and just it's like, all right, so what you're saying is they get to make a mid Mario game and cash in on the name and make a ton of money on it, and then Nintendo gets to work their ass off to make a good Sonic game and
Yeah.
rehab Sonic's image for them.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just
R
like I don't know. I just feel like they need some new blood at Sonic Team. That like it just feels like they do not have it.
I
I don't know if they need
know.
longer development times or if there needs to be some creative turnover there or what. But it's funny to hear that because it's like I would love to have a world where we could have a legitimate conversation of is this new Sonic game better than this new Mario game? And
Yeah,
I can't imagine that ever happening.
I know. 'Cause, like, the Sonic as a concept, awesome. So sick, but, like, the game's not there.
I
And
it,
typically, I will go back to older stuff to, like, if I want a Sonic game, I'm not gonna really play anything new.
oh yeah, right? Like it's like again, except for maybe Sonic Mania, but that's a game that
Yeah,
is old style, right? And it's like that's what you like
exactly.
about
Yeah, I
it
love
is that
Mania.
it's made by a group of people that were like extremely reverent for the original three, and yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there's definitely not anything in the
Yeah,
modern era.
Generations is also from, like, 2013 or whatever, 2012, I forget.
Yeah,
That's also about going back to, like, for like, old Sonic content.
and that's one of the ones people always point to as like, oh, that one's actually good, you know.
Yeah. Shit.
So okay, so here's the one shred that we can give Sonic. The one little consolation prize we can offer him before we move on. Cuz like you said, we like Sonic. We love Sonic. I don't want to pick on Sonic. I want to root for him. But Sega's got to up their game a little bit here.
These are the
But
facts.
exactly, I'm just presenting facts and if we happen to laugh when those facts get presented, is that our fault? I don't know. So
Nar.
so when it comes to the movies, right? Sonic
Mhm.
got managed to get 2 movies out before Mario did because obviously he's so fast. Sonic the Hedgehog 2020, 63 on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, 93 from audiences though. Pretty good, right? We like this. 19 million and change at the box office on a budget of about 85 to 90 million dollars. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 69. Nice on Tomato Meter. 96
Nice.
on the audience score.
Wait, the numbers are flipped. That's so funny.
It's so it's got something going for it, right? We
Yeah,
we got we had an increase there from the critics too. We got the double
huge.
magic number, 405 million at the box office on a budget of 90 to 110 million. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, but then we got the Super Mario Brothers movie, right? Here's where Sonic got the W. Critically, Sonic took it because Super Mario Brothers movie 59 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Both Sonic movies certified fresh. So they got a
Mhm.
W there. Audience
Yeah.
score though, 95. So, the folks are divided on which is the best. But when you look at the box office returns, I don't think it seems as divided because it made 1.36 billion at the box office on a budget of $100 million. So,
Yeah.
like magnitudes of the return that Sonic got, right, for the same roughly the same amount of money. And it was the first video game movie to break $1 billion. So,
Wow.
you know, we'll see how Sonic 3 turns out, but critics seem to prefer Sonic at least in this one
Yeah.
category. So you got
He
to give
has a
him
plot.
it does. It does have a plot. So give him its flowers. And it
Mhm.
has the venerable Jim Carrey. So who could forget about that?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this before we wrap up here. Is there anything that Sonic could do to surpass Mario? I don't even think we're convinced he could catch up at this point. What do you think it would take to surpass Mario?
Ugh. Well, 1, better games. Overall, I heard Frontiers wasn't, like, terrible.
I mean,
Um,
so yeah, not terrible. 75
not
on
terrible.
Metacritic for the best 2 versions versus Mario Odyssey's 97?
I know,
Not
but
great.
not great, but,
Not terrible.
it's no fucking, Sonic Werewolf game, you know?
Oh
It's
boy.
terrible
Sonic Unleashed.
concept.
God,
Sonic Unleashed.
they really
I
they
even remember the name.
They made some wacky fucking Sonic games in that era. There was that one where he's a
Yeah.
werewolf. There was the furry one, I think, right before that, and then there's like the one where he
Is the
becomes a
werewolf one not the furry one?
no. It's Sonic 06 is the one where he falls in love with a photorealistic human woman,
Oh! Oh, okay.
and
I
then
remember this.
I think after that one is the one Sonic and the Black Knight, where he goes back in time and becomes a knight in King Arthur's court with a talking sword because
These easily should not have left the drawing board and jumped out on paper, like, jumped out off of the paper and became real. This is easily just, like, the worst shit. This is like, if you had, like, a one of those Twitter accounts that, like, j sorry, everyone. Sorry you had to hear that noise. Uh, unless it's P, you can edit it out. I just hit my boom really hard. It's like those Twitter accounts that come up with fake fan fiction. They tweet like, "Obama chuckled, you mean the chaos?" That's what that sounds like. That's what that sounds like to me. That never should have been a game that was invested in. Like, so easy.
I'm
So
just
I'm
imagining
gonna time travel back to when they were in the boardroom.
that's because that's the thing, right? It's like I'm imagining this boardroom at Sega, and it's a bunch of like executives all coked up, just like, what if Sonic was a werewolf? What if he was a knight? And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. And then Sonic Team got like $60 in a meatball sub in 6 weeks to make that video game,
Oh,
and that's what it was like, I guess. I don't know.
terrible.
Terrible. So
So
best of
yeah,
luck, Sonic.
they should, yeah, better games, better magically fix your track record. Um, um, Sonic, I don't know. Okay, this is my marketing brain. I feel like they haven't done a lot of brand partnerships, and I'm thinking about how hard like a Sonic capsule would go. Like if they
Mm.
they partnered because they did that one partnership with a sneaker. I think it Adidas where they did like
I think it
the
was.
Sonic sneakers.
Yeah,
More shit like that. If they want to make an impact, the same way Mario has, it's literally about uh becoming a mainstay in the public's like mind. I guess
yeah,
like kind of. There's a better way to say that, but what I mean is like um people think of Nintendo, they think of Mario or just like I don't know, even like gaming in general, like you think of Mario. So like
sure.
they just gotta get there. They gotta widen their footprint, I think. That would be another way to improve their shot. But really making Sonic a better household name because he's really not there at all. Um, in my opinion.
I
Not
think
like
there's
fucking
been an
Pikachu.
effort with the movies to really project quality, and I feel like you don't see that as much when it comes to the games, obviously, but even like the animated
Yeah.
efforts and stuff like that, like over the last couple of years, it felt like there were a lot of like there was like Sonic Boom, I remember was like pretty panned and didn't last very long. And I think
Yeah.
there's a series on Netflix now that's been getting some positive buzz,
Oh, really?
but again, like where's the conversation about it? I don't know its name. It's like
Yeah.
it's a thing I've heard on like maybe TikTok, right? Someone's like, "Oh, this show's actually good," you know? Okay. But like,
Right.
I don't see it as this moment the way that like the Mario movie was, right? Like whether you liked it or not, right? It had its moment, and the machine behind it is perpetuating it. And like I see kids in Mario shirts and I see Mario toys at Target and everything, right? And it's like not that that stuff doesn't exist for Sonic, but
Yeah.
I don't think kids have the same relationship to Sonic now that they did when we were kids, and certainly not compared to Mario, you know? Not that there aren't fans still there, right? Like, there's millions of people buying this game, but, like,
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that audience now is nostalgic adults versus new kids getting in, right? Whereas, like,
Right.
I see that with Mario, and, that's anecdotal, I guess, right? Because I'm sure there is evidence that shows that there are tons of kids still buying and playing Sonic games,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, not obviously not to the tune that Super Mario Wonder had, right? 800,000 is a lot
Right.
in a couple weeks.
And I guess the other thing is like Sega Sega just does not have the same power like, is Nintendo. Like,
No.
Sega is, like, they make the Mario games, but they don't, like, they don't own the
Sonic.
console. What?
I think you mean Sonic. You said Sega makes the Mario games.
Whoa, yeah, I meant to say Sonic, whoa.
Yeah, just wanted to
We'd be in
yeah, make
trouble.
sure.
But Nintendo owns Mario, they make the Mario games, like, it's pretty much like a Mario. I don't wanna say Mario console, but, like, it is. Whereas, like, Sonic doesn't really have, like, a home you can play Sonic games on, like, multiple consoles.
I think, like, that should be to its advantage, right? Like, it's, like, the fact that, like,
That's true.
Mario's only on one console, like, should limit it, and it
You'd
doesn't, right?
think.
Like, to your point, I think it only like, the strength of the Mario brand, um, is a big part of the strength of the Nintendo brand, right? Like it's like you have the Nintendo world at Universal Studios, right? Like he was bringing up, and it's like who's the character that's there? It's Mario, right? It's
Yeah.
like yeah, they just added a Pokemon parade, and stuff like that. There's little things here and there, but it's like Mario's the face, right? And it's like
Yeah.
sure, Sonic is the face of Sega, but it's like I think like Sonic as a brand is like such a weird thing,
Yeah.
it means different things to a lot of different people, and I feel like so much of its strength does come from, like you said, the strength of Sonic as a character and that people like his design and, like, his attitude and, like, the influence that he's had on music and fashion and all these things that are, uh removed from the video games at a certain
Yeah.
point, right? And it's like, I don't know, there I think there needs to be that kind of, like, soft reboot somewhere of the brand. Like, it needs a kind of, like, new direction or a new style or something to, I think, recontextualize it for, like, a new generation and to, hopefully have, like, a unified version of it that, like, the old fans can enjoy and get behind, and
Absolutely.
that's so tough
Yeah.
when people
Big
want different things
refresh.
out of it.
Yeah. Also, Sega's not really, like, a household name at all.
No.
They were in the '80s and '90s, but not now.
No, and, like, it's like, so much of that, was on the strength of marketing, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, they used to really have down pat, and it's like, I think now it's, like, there's plenty of good Sega games, right? Like, they own Atlas, like, the
Yeah.
Persona's a Sega game at the end of the day, but, like, it's nuts that it seems like Sonic Team just is not a team that's capable of creating a marquee experience. And I think that's what you need to do if you really want to compete with Mario, right? It's like you say that you want to surpass Mario because you respect Mario, but it's like I don't think you respect Sonic enough.
Yeah.
Nintendo wouldn't put out a Mario game that was a 7 out of 10, you know? It
Yeah.
just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Mhm.
All right. So I'm excited to hear about your time with Super Mario Wonder. Speaking of Mario, because I know
Yes.
you've played it a little bit. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But before we do that, let me remind you that this episode of Nintendo Noise is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of November. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valens, Earth Visitor, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, aka Sobe, Pilkey, Snackago, Ty the Dude, and Wakahula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You all the real stuff, the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. If you want to go check out some of those sister shows, if you want to write in and get your thoughts read on the air, if you want to keep the conversation rolling between episodes, or if you want to go above and beyond and show your support and back us on Patreon, just like those fine folks did, you can find links to all that and much more over on flipscreen.games. That's our website. Head over there, click on some stuff, however you choose to get involved or show your support. We thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nintendo Noise. All right, we're back, Sierra. I want to hear about your time with Super Mario Wonder. I've been talking about it for the last 4 weeks with a rotating group of folks. I'm the
Yes.
only
Yeah.
constant, and I want to hear. I want to get a couple things from you. How far in are you? How are you liking it so far? And like, has it met your expectations for what you thought it was going to be, or is it are you liking it more than you thought? Is it disappointing you? Kind of what's your temperature check on it for how far in
Sure.
you are.
I like it more than I thought I was going to, like, period.
Awesome.
I'm really shocked. I bought it obligatory content creator buy because new Mario game. But I was interested, I mean, they kind of did a good job selling it in the trailers. So I was like, "Alright, let's buy it. Worst case scenario, I don't know." So I put it up on stream and I played it. I'm about 2.5 hours in. I'm in Petal Isle. I
Okay.
had a devastating thing happen where, like, I, uh, I ran out of lives, like, trying to do, like, a boss fight, and, like, it backtracked me all the way, like, back through the world I was in with
Really?
Bowser Jr. Yeah,
Oh, damn.
I did a bad job. It's okay. It's how we learn and get better. Um, so, I am not super far, but I'm getting there. I really like it. I always preferred, like, the side-scrolling platformers. Not big on 3D. I will get there. I will get good at 3D. Like, I played Sunshine. I'm sure I can, they say when you play Sunshine, you can play a lot of stuff because it's like the Mario Dark Souls. But, you know, I digress. Gameplay is really fun. So that aspect has been sick. I feel like he's floatier in this game. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, it's
But, like, besides,
interesting.
like, the underwater stuff, he's just, like, floatier,
I feel like, yeah, I really wanna do, like, a jump comparison of some
right?
kind and
Yeah,
match them all up because I it feels a little different to me, and I feel like what I what I think I've landed on is it feels like they, like, made him a little floatier because now, like, every character plays exactly the same, and
yeah,
it's like, I feel like I'm used to Mario feeling like he has more weight on his fall, but I
yeah,
feel like now he handles a little bit more like Luigi, but, like, doesn't
right,
have, like, the higher, longer jump, so it
yeah,
feels like it's kinda like they compressed those styles to kinda make, like, a standard, that
yeah,
but
I know
I
what you
it
mean.
definitely feels a little different to me, and
Right, yeah.
yeah, it doesn't feel quite floaty, but it definitely feels floaty-er, which is a super confusing sentence, but yeah,
No, I
I think I'm
follow.
right there with you.
Yeah. Um, I I also, like, feel like the gameplay does make it feel, like, a little more fresh, like, I don't think it's just, like, oh, like, an annoying mechanic just happens against your will. I do appreciate, like, how the levels twist and turn and, like, how enemies, have different mechanics when you activate, like, the wonder powers,
Yeah.
and it makes it really fun, and, like, the screen changes, like, it forces you like, it kinda conveys, like, a sense of urgency. So, you're really tuned in and you're focused, and then, like, when, you run through that part of the course and it all changes back, the pace it really adds to the pacing for me of, like, each level.
I like the contrast between, like, the regular level is no longer timed, so you're, like, encouraged to, like, explore and, like, find the different pathways, but then, like you said,
Yeah,
like, the wonder stuff is I think always timed it, if not usually. Um, and that does have this, like, sense of, like, "Oh, shoot, like, I need to figure out what's happening," and, like, I kinda like the way that it injects a little bit of, like, what it feels like to be have the timer running out on a Mario level, but not
yeah,
forcing the whole thing in that box again.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, and then, like, the design. I think I love that the colors are, like, so saturated.
Yeah.
It feels it's a different I mean, obviously, this was, like, marked as, like, a big stylistic change for Mario, but I appreciate the attention to detail there. I don't
So much
remember who.
character to the animation too, like, I love, like,
Yes.
all the little
When the
different
hat, like, the hat he
Yeah!
goes through a pipe and the hat, like,
He
is like,
pulls it
"Zoop."
through.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, that I remember the first time I caught that, I was like, "Oh, wow, like, it's so different,"
Yeah.
It's like those little and, like, the have you picked up on, like, the sound design at all? Like, has any of that stuck out to you?
To
Um,
be honest, I hate to say it, but no.
'Cause, like, there's a couple of things with it that have really like, whenever you do the ground pound, there's like a it's like a cymbal crash, like, as you land, and
Oh,
it's
I did
like
notice that.
they've changed the jump sound, and it's, like, still the same sound, but, like, it's like it's weird, like, it's like, it's the same, like, interval, right, of, like, the like, "whoop" or whatever, but, like, the pitch in it and, like, the voicing of it is different, and there's, like, a lot of
Ah,
weird little things like that, that it took me until I was, like, some of it stuck out right away, but some of it was, like, as I was playing, I was like, "Oh, like, there's so much, like, extra instrumentation and, like, these weird little, like, touches, that, like, I feel like really accentuate some of that stuff." Um
yeah, I love that it's I did notice that it's very musical, like, when you step on, like, certain blocks and whatnot. I appreciate that. I think that's really cute.
And, like, there's, like oh, it's, like, the 1st or 2nd level, I think, is, like, the wonder thing with, like, the singing piranha plants and everything, and it's, like, there's, like,
Yeah.
so much yeah, like, there's a real musicality to it for sure, and, like, the way that
Yeah.
the animation interacts with the sound and everything is something that, like I think that's my favorite part of it overall is, like, the presentation and the aesthetic, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Real
Yeah,
charm to it.
absolutely. Yeah, all those little flourishes and touches, like, make it a really enjoyable experience, like, I wanna go back and play it more. Not very far, I only have 2 badges, but, uh, it's great. I'm definitely gonna dig into it as soon as possible, clock some more hours for sure.
Nice. I'm excited to hear your thoughts as you get into it. There's some stuff
Yeah.
as you get a little deeper. Like there's like a kind of like secret world that's like a post game. I think it's supposed to be a post game thing, but you can get to it early.
Nice.
Some of those levels are so freaking hard.
Really?
And
Oh, man,
they're
okay.
fun, but they're tough and like they're
Right.
crazy. And yeah, I think like maybe you got on with, the harder stuff in Sunshine, you'll be fine, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm interested to see what you think of it as you get going. Um, so yeah, we'll have to talk about it more in the weeks to come. I know, we're definitely gonna wanna do at the end of the year, we're gonna do a bunch of spoiler casts and everything and, like, dig
Alright.
deep on each individual game, so we'll definitely have opportunities to talk about it some more, even if we don't get to it in one of the next couple weeks, but, yeah,
Mhm.
in hearing, I'm interested in hearing where it ranks for you near the end of the year. 'Cause I
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
like you said, it was not one you were sure that you were gonna bite on, and I'm glad to hear that you're liking it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Alright, so I wanna close things out with a very Sierra-centric topic, because we're gonna talk about Smash. There's a new Smash bundle that just got announced, right? They're doing an OLED, um, Switch bundle for Black Friday, and, it got me thinking about Smash again, you know? And,
Mhm.
it seems like I'm not the only one, because, Sakurai was talking about, Smash recently on, a YouTube episode on his channel where he was talking about game concepts. We've talked about his channel a lot. It's a really great resource if you're someone who's interested in game design, whether that's because you want to make games yourself or because you want to understand more about your favorite hobby or art form. It's a really great tool and one that he's given out for free. So definitely go check that out if you haven't. But there was a quote that was pulled and it was making the rounds on Reddit, and I thought it was interesting, where he was talking about some of the the design concepts that went into Ultimate, and he was talking about how he has some doubts over whether future iterations of Smash will be able to uh, live up to the scope of what was achieved in Ultimate. And, he said, he expressed kind of being unsure about what comes next for Smash, like, where does Smash go from here? And I'm interested to hear what you think about that. Like, what do you think the future of Smash looks like in a post-Sakurai world? Like, how do you top what Ultimate was?
I thought about this a lot in the wake of, the final DLC character being announced, or maybe when they, like, stopped doing this stuff. Gosh. I feel like this is a conversation bound to happen, like, because, like, Ultimate was supposed to be, like, the the most hype, like, packed Smash game that could possibly exist, and, like, it didn't really occur to me that that was the case, like, when I started playing Smash, I'm literally just button mashing and then eventually picked up Isabelle, and then I started to get to know, like, the competitive scene and, like, get to know other people who play and watch high level gameplay, and I was like, "Holy shit, how do you get better than this?" Like, how where does it go from here? Because this does truly feel like it was intended to be, like, the last one, like, the big send
Yeah.
off, but at the same time, like, why would you make a like, if that was not the intention and this was not supposed to be the final Smash game, why would you do that at this point in the game's like, the title's life cycle? Like, if that's not the final destination, then what is?
Yeah.
It's really weird. I think I think a lot about competitive scenes that exist outside of Smash. So, like, Guilty Gear, Initial D, Mortal Kombat, and they all have, like, characters like, it's like a stripped down cast, and all those different characters can do, like, 90 different combos. Gross exaggeration, but you probably know what I mean. Like, there's
Yeah.
just, like, all of them can do not that, like, Smash characters I mean, there's 80, they can all do, like, a vast amount of things, but, like, I feel like it's a little more intricate in fighting games like that. Like, I just think that it would be more interesting if, like, they pared it down, they made it, like, really fucking hard to, like, see, like, whoever you love in Smash, like, and, like, soup them up, really crazy movesets, and, like, that's the thing, and that is the meta, and I feel like that would lead to very interesting experimentation with, like, balancing out characters, like,
Yeah.
updates, and I feel like it's the only way to go if you already did, like, everybody's here. I feel like more exclusivity would make it more hype when characters are added or if characters are added, and I just it like, it's a competitive game. I'm sorry. Like, even if you can still button mash even if it's, like, a game like that, but I think, Smash is, like, meant to be played competitively to fight it's a fighting game, like, I can still button mash in Guilty Gear, like, I feel like there can still be a wider market appeal if it's not, like, the goal is to just, like, put everyone that everyone loves in the game so that they will pick it up and buy it because the fucking dog from Duck Hunt is in it, like, or, like, what have you, Banjo-Kazooie. It would be a shame to lose, like, having that many characters, but if the goal is to still make Smash an interesting fighting game, I think that's where it should go. But if they don't care about that, then do whatever you want. Double the cast. Put them in fucking air balloons. I don't know. Go nuts. That's how I feel, to
I
be
I
honest.
think I think that's a really interesting point of view and not one that I had really considered, like, the idea of paring it down and making it more I don't wanna say, like, more traditional, but, like, I guess, to add depth, right? Like,
Yeah.
and have it be more combo oriented and have it be, um, trying to, kind of, cater more to the competitive audience and the folks that, really, like, are sinking the most time into the game, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's a tough line to walk because obviously Smash is a game that I think does appeal to casuals too, but
Yeah, I think about
s
that too.
so does
Cause
Mortal Kombat, right? Like, it's like
yeah.
there are ways to your point, to appeal to casuals that don't, um there's a way to make the game deeper for the people that want it to be deeper without making it alienating, you
I
know?
think that's what they need to do, yeah. Cause, like, I think about that too. I'm like, casuals play it because there's not, like, 20 move sets for every character. You understand that, like, if you press this button, it's gonna do this. If you, like, hold up the joystick and press that button, it'll do something else. But you can get away with being clueless that's not the case with many other, like, more serious fighting games.
Well, and particularly if you lean into the things that make Smash unique, right? Which is
Yeah,
like, there are not a lot of other fighting games where they're like where you can have 4 characters on the screen at the same time. And right, obviously like
right.
the competitive scene doesn't play that way, but like there's a huge portion of the people that play it that is how they play, right? Where it's like I play with 4 friends at the same time and we
Uh-huh.
play with stage hazards on and items and like it's a totally different style of gameplay than if you're playing competitively and you're trying to like min max and really get good, right? Like for
Yeah,
a lot of people, that's not really the point, right? It's like, oh, like this is fun. And even if I come in last, like I can have a fun time, like, messing with the person who's good, right? Like, or
right.
whatever, right? And it just, you find the fun in other ways. Um,
Totally.
and it's like, I would hate for Smash to lose that, but also to your point, I don't know where it goes from here if not just starting to like introduce gimmicks and like other, more just like stuffing more stuff into it and it's like at what point does that become diminishing returns, right? It's like do we
Right.
really need a game with 100 characters, right? Like it's like I don't know, it's
I know.
I think I think of like what you said of like maybe you make a new game and maybe it goes away for a while. Right? Maybe we don't have one next generation. We re-release Smash Ultimate with some more stages added or whatever, right? But like, and you do a game that you go back to the original game's roster, right? And have it be like 13 characters, right? Maybe one or two other new ones or whatever. And you really try to reboot it in the way that like Mortal Kombat had a reboot, right, with 9 or like Street Fighter is like trying to reinvent itself now. And I think at some point that's what Smash is going to have to do, right? If it wants
Yeah.
to keep going, it has to become something else because I don't know how you out Sakurai
Yeah,
and his
exactly. Sakurai
magnum
doesn't even know
opus.
how to out-Sakurai Sakurai. I don't know. I just that idea came to mind because, like, I find that anyone who, like, isn't vaguely invested in getting good at Smash is just like, "I don't know what I'm doing, I just press buttons anyway."
Yeah.
So, like, if that's how people who are casual kinda see it, then, like, what's the harm if we remove 20, 30 characters and maybe, like, zero more in like, the fighting? Like, let there be, like, a baseline, like, level of things you can do if you don't wanna get super sweaty, but the goal is to just make it give it more depth so that it has longevity.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
have it be more focused on like laddering and like,
Yeah.
having like an online like prestige system and like some of the stuff that we've come to expect
A
in
better online system.
yeah, right? And like having
Yeah.
the ability to like, ladder and like go to tournaments and like have a pipeline there for the competitive community that, is largely self-organized.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also think it should go away for a while. Um, things
I don't
Ultimate's
want
doing
another one
fine.
next generation. Like I just I don't I feel like it's too soon. Like I just don't, like I think you do a deluxe version of it and, ride it for another 10 years like they did with Mario Kart before until you have a
Yeah.
new idea.
Yeah, they should really take their time. I would rather that because, like, everyone's happy with what we have. Like, no one is like, "I'm done with Ultimate, like, next, please." Like, we're all playing the same Smash games.
Yeah.
These tournaments are thriving off of the titles we already got. So, I don't see any reason to rush, and, I think they should just take their time. They're still even finding, like, new things to do as recently as, like, last year in, like, the the game. Some guy discovered, like, a gimmick and, like, publicly announced it. It was, like, not wave dashing, but, like, you move, like, in, like, an infinity symbol.
Whoa,
I don't know if
okay.
you ever saw that. I don't
No.
know. I am paraphrasing, and don't quote me, but it was, like, a crazy new strat that, like, everyone was really hype on. It's just an example of, like, how things can still be done with what we have,
Absolutely.
and there's no need to rush, in my
Yeah, and
opinion.
I think if they wanna if the concern is we need another Smash game on the market, right? Because we wanna sell it again. I mean, there are ways to do that that aren't putting out a new game, right? Like
Yeah.
doing maybe like a map packs and like bringing in some of the levels that haven't been ported over, or like designing new levels and things like that that,
Yeah.
you could get away with without Sakurai, right? And like that you could make new content that, doesn't fundamentally change what's presented. It just kind of gives old players new things to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So I think we're going to leave it there for the day. If you guys want to write in and let us know what you think about Sega's desire to have the blue blur surpass our favorite plumber, or if you want to write in with your thoughts about what the future of Smash Brothers should be, guess what? There's a lot of ways you can do that. Head over to flipscreen.games. You can find our Discord. You can find our email address. You can find links to our sister shows. You can find our Patreon if you want to go and show us your support. However, you choose to get involved or show your support for the show, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nintendo Noise. For the crew, wait, nope, sorry. One more plug. Sierra, talk about your single one more time.
Oh, yes, and my band with Tales Ahead will be, releasing our upcoming single, Darting Eyes, on Wednesday, November 15th.
Next week? No. And change. 9
It'll
days.
be a week from Wednesday,
So about a week
the
from when this
8th.
yeah, yeah, okay. So a week from when this goes live. So in a week, go pre-save
Mhm.
it. We got a link down below,
Yay, thank you.
of course. All right, so for the crew, I've been Pete. She's been Sierra. We'll see you next week.